Hey everyone, welcome to the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream. And thanks for coming by tonight. Appreciate everyone that's dropped in. I guess what I wanted to do tonight was try to show a little bit about the vacation that was taken that I took or we took up in Nova Scotia at Oak Island this past June. I did a little what was that? One night there, while I was there, that one Monday night, I kind of went live and I showed a few pictures, but I thought I would share a few more. So, Laura, there's Laura. Oh, I was going to talk about you a little bit tonight. Hope you don't mind. I will be showing your picture here a little bit. So, but I appreciate everybody that stopped by. So this, remember back when, years ago when everybody had they went on vacation and they did the little slideshows, and then you got together at somebody's house, everybody gathered at their house and they got their little slide projector out. And yeah, this is going to be kind of like that. Like when you got dragged over to do that, everybody's like, oh my gosh, really? We got to look at all your vacation pictures. All right. So, hey, Robert, how you doing? Cat Fulton, there you are. Yeah, there's some pictures of you in here too. So yeah, I really appreciated so much meeting you and Linda and Laura and Karen Howard out there when I was in Nova Scotia. It was so cool. I really appreciated meeting you guys. It was so nice and hanging out and everything. It was really a great time. Hey, Donna McCauley, how you doing? I've been following along. You've been doing a lot of metal detecting and stuff. That's really cool. Keeping it busy. I've got this place where I'm at right now. This place was built in like 1932 or something like that. And this house has a lot of nooks and crannies and little hidden. I'm thinking there's a mason jar of gold coins out in the yard someplace, and I'm going to go look for them. So I got to get the metal detector busy. Jenny's getting inky with it. How you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. So hello, Jeff. Did you get the PayPal from? I got a message. I did get a message. I've got to go back and look at that again. But it was telling me to set up a PayPal account so I could get the money or get the donation. And I was like, I already have one. So I was a little confused as to what was going on there. But let me double check on that. So, hey, John Edwards, how you doing? Maya's here. Hi guys. Let's see. Robert, hi, Robert. Been a while since I said hello to people showing up. Renee, hi, Renee. Jackie, the Borchers Texas Farm. How you guys doing? Appreciate it. Beth's here. Hey, Beth. Jan, Susan. Let's see who else. Oh my goodness. Anne, Kat, of course. Thomas is here. Hey, Thomas. How you doing? Yeah, thanks guys for coming by tonight. I thought I would, like I said, I thought I would take you through some of the pictures that I took when I was up there. I had a great time. I tell you what, it was the best vacation ever. It really truly was because everybody, there was so much going on behind the scenes that I had no idea. Oh yeah, let me put that up there too. Yeah, the and I haven't tried to use it again, but the super chat that I normally would use when I ask people if you want to help support the show, you can use that super chat. And that's also used if you want to get to the head of line with your comment or question or something like that. You can do that super chat. But I had an issue last Thursday night where after a couple of super chats popped up, we lost the chat from YouTube. We had no more, and it happened like halfway through the podcast, and then I couldn't tell. I wasn't getting any more messages from anyone. So um, the Magic School Bus. um. So yeah. So I did. I had to. I put the here. I'll put the banner up here real quick. If you want to help support the show, the super chats are temporarily turned off. If you wish to donate to the channel, you can use my PayPal account, which is right there. It's at jfreeman98665. If you want to do that. So if you want to help support the show, appreciate that a lot. Oh, by the way, some people have donated, and I know this doesn't really mean a lot to everyone who is Oak Island fans only and just the fans of the Skinwalker Ranch. But a lot of people donated and said, Jeff, go out and get that tri-field meter. Dun, 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 dun. I got it. It came yesterday. So I did order it. And I thank you all so very much who helped. But I did get the tri-field meter. Yes. and I've been playing with it yet for a little while to get it thing figured out. But and I've got some YouTube videos to watch. But yeah, I got it. So I can't wait. I can't wait. I've been going around scanning the house a little bit already to find out, what kind of weird EMF fields are around here, or RF frequencies are going. So anyway, I wanted to thank everybody so very much for that. So anyway, thank you. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah. So that's going to when I'm heading out of here, I'm going to be checking my travels as I go west. Eventually heading out to Skinwalker Ranch and also Mount Wilson Ranch, and I'm going to be using that baby all the way because I got a feeling that that high EMF field is significant in finding some of this high strangeness that's going on at those ranches. So yeah, a new toy. Yeah, I got it, John. That's it. I have it. So, all right. So let's get started. So, as in case some of you don't know, and most of you should by now, I've been, wrapping my jaw about it for quite a while now. So I went out there to. Oh, thank you, Linda, for that. I went out there to. I had been talking about the Curse of Oak Island TV show for what 3 years. And because of the fact that I was talking about, I wanted to go there. Was going to go in 2020, kind of fell apart. Uh, hey, Tony Sampson, how you doing, Tony? Um, so I didn't get an opportunity to go in 2020. COVID happened and everything, and then of course everything fell apart from that point on. I was bound and determined to get up there, so I went up there last June. I went up there, and I tell you what, it was an absolutely wonderful trip. I couldn't believe what took place out there and how everyone was so nice. The guys are so real and so down to earth. And Tony Sampson, I mean, yeah, well, you'll see as we go along here what some of the things that took place. Even with Tony and the Salty Dog Sea Tours. By the way, I have a link to that. Salty Dog Sea Tours. There's a link down in the description below of this show. And I'm telling you, folks, if you get an opportunity to go up to Nova Scotia, you have to take the Salty Dog Sea Tour. You got to do it. Kat will attest to it. Linda, anybody else that's been up there that has, and Laura, anyone else that's been up there that has already been on it, you will chime in, I'm sure. It is an absolutely must do thing if you are up in that area, even if you're not all that big on Oak Island, which most everybody that's here tonight should be. That he talks about the history of the area, the pirates of the area. I mean, it goes on and on. You have to take, yeah, Laura said it right there. You have to, yeah. How many have taken, just out of curiosity, how many of you that are watching right now? We got 80 people watching. How many people have been there and have taken the tour with Tony Sampson? There's a Facebook user. I forgot to turn on the Facebook so I could see who was. I'm sorry. Let me do that right now. You're gonna hear. I'm gonna stop talking for a moment so we don't get double feed on it. Yep, there we go. All right. All right, now we got it up. Now I can see who's talking. There's Karen Public Cover. Yes. Yes. There he is right there. It's Junior. That's Junior Dazzler sitting right there, right behind me, right there. Junior Dazzler. He is awesome. And I should get that. In there, in the other room, I have maybe my lovely assistant would bring it in here, but I have the another. It is one of the driftwoods with the sea glass and shells making up a seahorse on it that I got for Christina, and it's in the other room in there. Man, it is so awesome. All that stuff is just wonderful, fantastic work. And Linda and Jan got their little Oak Islands. Little plaque. The things are beautiful. As soon as I saw them, as soon as Karen was, I went in and I saw them. There we go. Got to have that right there. I mean, that was, yeah, it was a must have. And really, Karen was so wonderful. Thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate it. So, indeed, it was a must have to get those things, and got to hang out with you for a little while, Karen, and it was so cool. Everybody up there was so wonderful. I really enjoyed it a lot. So, yeah, there you go. Yeah, that Carrie made. Yep. Yeah, Karen and them, they do amazing work. Absolutely. Are you going to Michigan to see the parade? I will not make it. Unfortunately, I will be here. Uh isn't that like in a couple of days? Next week. I think it's next weekend, isn't it? I will not be there for that. I wanted to be there for that, but I'm not going to make it. So, and I don't think the Laginas really wanted me to be hounding them anyways. All right, so let's get busy with a couple some with some pictures here. Yeah, it's Saturday, so yeah, I'm not gonna. Unfortunately, those guys would be coming by or something in a car, and I'd be like, "Hey, Rick and Marty, hey!" Yeah, they'd be like, "Oh, just keep driving." Yeah. So anyway, all right. So let's get started with some pictures because this might take a while. I got quite a few, and I'm going to try not to make this too boring as as we go through. All right. So let's start off with this one here. I tried. I was really trying to get myself into Nova Scotia and onto Oak Island. And I thought, man, if I dressed up and knocked out the diet pep or Dr. Pepper, diet Dr. Pepper guy, and dragged him off to the side and took over his truck, I could sneak on and say, "Hey, it's for Rick, right?" Now, somebody used this as a fun Friday, and we have a fun Friday in our Facebook group. So I did a fun. Somebody did a fun Friday, and I tell you that was one of the funniest ones I think that I had ever seen. It so looks like me. It even says Acorn on the license plate. That's cool. Diet. I don't know. Does Rick drink diet or straight up? It's probably straight up. He probably doesn't drink diet. But yeah, so I thought that was funny. So I had to get to Nova Scotia by a different way, and so as we were driving, and I thankfully I had Christina help me. We were traveling along, and it was raining. I mean, it rained from the time I entered into Quebec all the way through New Brunswick and everything. It just rained all the way, and I thought, man, this is going to be a soggy trip if it doesn't change soon. But there's a New Brunswick sign as I entered in there, and then there was this one, and I got to tell a little story as we're going along here because Christina was driving for a little while, and she wanted to see a moose, and that says right there. But in case of intrusion, call 511. That's what that says, I guess, right? So if you, in other words, if you hit a moose, call. Yeah, if you hit a moose, call 511, and apparently they'll come out and rescue you or something. So, but we saw those signs, and so Christina was looking for a moose. There she is driving along, and so she was looking for a moose, and I was nodding off, and I thought, well, let me see if I can get a little sleep here, and because we drove straight through, basically all the way from Michigan to Nova Scotia. So, and it was getting crazy. And so I was nodding off in the car and I was just finally starting to drift off to sleep. And then all of a sudden I hear, Moose! And I jumped up, and the brakes came on, and I jumped up. I thought we were getting into a wreck. I swear, I thought we were crashing. And it turns out that, okay. If the moose gets through the fence, they want to know. Okay. Is that what that is? All right. Come and get the moose meat. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I jumped up. I thought we were going to crash or something. I thought something terrible was happening, and it was a moose that she spotted on the side of the road, and she wanted to go see it. And we stopped, pulled over, we backed up a little bit, but by the time we got backed up, it seen us backing up, and it got scared and it ran off. So, anyway, so we didn't get a picture of the moose. So unfortunately, no picture of the moose. One of the neat things along the way was this here. We got off the highway and we came down into this little town of Heartland, and we saw this thing that said something about the longest covered bridge in the world or North America, but I thought it was in the world. I got another picture. Maybe it says on there, but so I said, well, let's go see that. We got to go down and see it. So there it is right there. It's in the Charles R. Allen Riverfront Park, and this is in Heartland. And there it is there. So yeah, Heartland, New Brunswick. Welcome. You are now entering the longest covered bridge in the world. And it was cool. Jack Campbell's here. Is he? Jack, how you doing? Good to see you. So yeah, so the longest covered bridge in the world. And that was really cool. So we got to see that and drive across it, It was, well, it said 18 hours. Of course, that's if you drove straight through, but it ended up being closer to 28 hours, I think, by the time we stopped for fuel. And of course, I picked up Christina at the Toronto airport and we went through all of that. So by the time, the whole trip was like 20, no, yeah, it was like almost 30 hours. Um, so yeah, it was a really, yeah, it was a haul for sure, a long, long haul. But so beautiful. I mean, the rain was kind of the drawback to it, but it was an awesome, awesome thing. And then I had to turn around and do it on the way back too. So there we are, entering into Nova Scotia. We had to stop and take a picture at the sign, and so we we got that photograph taken as we entered into Nova Scotia. And I had to get a shot of this. We're heading down to our Airbnb, and I had to get a shot of this. And I saw this sign on the way. I have no idea what V. I don't know if that's a last name or what, but Vine Nut. But I saw the sign, and this was on the road. I mean, we were off the highway making our way down to the Airbnb in Lunenburg, and there was this sign, and I thought, oh, I got to get a picture of that. So yeah, got that. I guess I have roots in Nova Scotia. Didn't know that I did. Glad to be here. Feeling better. Great. That's great news, Jack. Truly is great news. Thanks. Hey, Tara. I see Tara over there too on the Facebook side. Diane, missing the show. Hey, Jeff Freeman. Hey, how you doing? Glad to see you over there. All right. There we go. So, and then right after that was this one right here. We passed right by it. Didn't even realize it as we're driving down the road, just past the Freeman Vinot road. We come over here and I see a orange or yellow trucks and I'm like, okay, I got it. And then there's the sign. And if you can see that, what it says right there, Gerhardt. So there's Billy Gerhardt's yard right there. He's got a big yard with all of his equipment. Had no idea we were going to drive right by it on the way into Lunenburg, but there it was. So that was cool. This is the Airbnb that we stayed at. I know it doesn't mean a whole lot, but I did want to talk about this just briefly. This was Marion's place, and we found it through Airbnb in Lunenburg. And I wanted to, and I tell you what, Heather it was her mother's house. And it's kind of retro 70s. You see all the stuff in there. It was wonderful. Very, very nice place. Very well kept. We had everything we needed inside. I mean, truly, it was a great stay. So I wanted to end the description for it. If you're interested, if you ever want to get up there and stay for a few nights or a week or whatever, I do have a link for it through Airbnb. You can find the link down in the description below of the show here tonight. But I did link it in there. But like I said, Heather was wonderful. She took care of us. She made sure that we had everything we needed and checked on us while we were there just by text. I mean, nobody ever came by and bothered us or anything like that. And there's a grill outside that I used and everything. It's really a cool place, had everything we needed. So it was a wonderful stay. So I recommend if you ever go there and you're going to be staying for a while, and if you like the Airbnb over a hotel or anything like that, check out Marion's place. I guess Marion was her mother's name, and this was her house. So really cool, very well taken care of place. Really nice. Mug and Anchor. We went to the Mug and Anchor when we got there the first night. We didn't do a whole lot. That was on a Sunday night. And then Monday, we kind of tooled around a little bit. It was raining. I had to work on Monday and Tuesday a little bit. So we went down and checked out the Mug and Anchor. So I took a picture of the actual the menu. Yeah, Lunenburg. I got some pictures of Lunenburg. I'm going to show you. Those are coming up here in just a second. Matter of fact, now they're coming up right now. While I was working, Christina took my camera and she went out into town. And so this isn't all about Oak Island. And for those of you that wanted nothing but Oak Island, I'm sorry. I'm going to show some pictures of the entire trip. A little bit. But yeah, Lunenburg was beautiful. What a beautiful place. And these are some of the pictures that Christina took while she was there. There's looking out in the little bay there, right there in Lunenburg. That's like a golf course on the hillside in the background. And she actually went over to that hillside and took a few pictures. The Teresa E. Connor was a schooner that was there. And then some of the places, and the food was good, and the ice cream was really good. We had a good time at coming down into Lunenburg and looking around, and they also have the Fisherman's Museum down there, which was really cool. Got to go through that. Also, just some random pictures of down in Lunenburg that Christina took here. And then she went out to a place, and I forgot it's out there. There's First Peninsula and Second Peninsula, and then if you go on out there a ways, you end up going out to Black Rocks. I've forgotten the name now. Yeah, I've forgotten the name on it, but Christina went out there and she took a bunch of pictures, and it was out past Lunenburg, heading out onto these peninsulas. And she went on out there and took a few pictures. And just look at these. I mean, just the place was just Blue Rocks. Oh, Blue Rock. Thank you. Thank you. Who was that? Tony. Tony. Thank you, Tony. All right. Yeah. Blue Rocks. And just, I mean, the entire area is just so beautiful. It really truly is. And you'll see as we go through these pictures here. These are some just different random places that she saw along the way and took these pictures. Just wonderful. Really, really neat. And this was so common to see these boats tied up out there all over the place. They were, everybody obviously, it seems like everybody that lives there has a boat. I don't know that anybody there's one of the pictures looking from the golf course back at Lunenburg. I mean, does it get much more picturesque than that right there? It doesn't. And that's the Fisherman's Museum right here. I'm sorry, the Fisheries Museum of the Atlantic. I completely said that wrong. I was saying fishermen's, a Fisheries Museum of the Atlantic. Yeah, she is a good photographer. She really is. Yeah, we went and walked around there a little bit and had some food and ice cream and whatnot, and got to go to the Fisheries Museum. I met Carmen Legg over there as well, and Carmen gave me actually. Well, I'll share that in just a bit. I won't share it just yet, but yeah, it was just beautiful. It really was. If you don't own a boat, you know someone who does. There you go, Tom. How many boats do you have, Tom? You got a couple, don't you? Have one or two, anyway. And here's a picture. This is actually in, I think this is Mahone Bay. Is this Mahone Bay? This is where the Mug and Anchor is. Actually, the Mug and Anchor is over on the other side of these places here. Again, this is one of those places where we had to stop and take some pictures. A little gazebo there. Um, just so yeah, such a neat. We just couldn't help but just keep snapping pictures. I took this picture here because there was always some talk about the Templar battle flag and the Mi'kmaq flag that they started using. Um, and I know there was some controversy over whether or not they actually did get this flag from the Templar, that somebody showed it to them and it's a reverse image. I know that's still up in the air whether or not that's all true, but I saw this flying there, and it's got Canada, it's got New Nova Scotia, and then the Mi'kmaq flag all flying there together. And I thought that was really neat. So I had to take a picture of that flag, and that's got the cross with the star and the moon, crescent moon. So yeah, that's flying right there in town. Here's another little bit of a distance picture of basically the same area right there. And of course, you know what this is, right? Had to stop and see this real quick. The causeway going over to Oak Island. The first day we got there, Carmen got a hold of me on Monday, and he asked me, "What are you doing tonight?" And I said, "Well, I am nothing. We really didn't have anything planned for Monday night and Tuesday night because I had to work both days." So he said, "Do you want to go meet Mr. Oak Island?" And I said, "Well, absolutely." And who's Mr. Oak Island? He said, "Well, I ain't telling you." Okay. It turns out we didn't get to go until Tuesday night. This is Mr. Danny Henniger, and this is the Oak Island display that he has. It's in a train station, and he's got this all set up over there. And we went over and seen this, and got a chance to. Well, the first night on Tuesday night, we went and met Carmen, and I got to hand it to Carmen because again, The hospitality from the people from Nova Scotia just goes above and beyond. I truly above and beyond. But Carmen got a hold of us and he says, "Yep." He goes, "Meet us over at the exit and I'll pick you up, or well, you can follow me. We're going to go see Mr. Oak Island." So we did. We went to the exit, the little it's one of those places by the exit ramp where the carpool area is, where the car parking is for carpool. So we go over there and we meet up with Carmen. Of course, he was driving the blue Corvette that has Oxman license plate. I seen him coming a mile away with that thing. But anyway, he came over. We followed him over. We went to Danny Henniger's house and we got a chance to sit there. So my second day in Nova Scotia, and I'm sitting in Danny Henniger's house, and I'm sitting across the coffee table from Carmen Legg. Danny Henniger sitting over here to my right, and there we are, Christina and I, and we're listening to Danny and Carmen, mostly Danny, but Carmen also chiming in and telling us about things about Oak Island that I had no idea. I mean, he was telling us, yes, you do. But yeah, he told us so many, and I said, Danny, I said, man, we've got to do a podcast with you and get you on the show and talk a little bit about some of this stuff. So I had some equipment. Yeah, I got a little. Some people kind of gave me a hard time a little bit about the equipment because it wasn't the best. I grabbed what I could. I'm sorry, I just don't have a great big budget for these kinds of things yet. But I did the best I could to get microphones and get everything set up out there. We did. We went live, and we went live actually in the Oak Island display that's in the train station, and right there with Danny. And that's just a screenshot from that. If you want to check out that show, you can. It's on our YouTube channel there, and I don't have it linked below. I was going to put the link in there. I didn't get that put in there, but um, it is so good to listen to Danny. Now, the volume is not the best. Every time Danny was talking, you see where he's holding his microphone and he kept dropping it down, and then you couldn't hear what he was saying. I kept, reaching over. Yeah, new microphone fund is what I need. I know, right? So, the one that's actually that Danny's holding is got the blue tape on it was actually an old microphone from a band days. So, but it had been beat up quite a bit. So, yeah. So, one of these days I'll have better equipment and I'll be able to do these, uh, you know, uh, remote podcasts going live. I'll be able to do them better. We'll get it figured out at some point. But we will have Danny back on. I'm going to set this up to where I do a podcast with Danny Henniger and we do it live and we do it with you guys. And we'll let you submit questions through the Facebook group so that you can talk to, ask questions of Danny and find out more. This man, he used to give tours back before when the tours first started at Oak Island. He was giving tours and he knows like Scott Clark and all those guys. And he has pictures in the Oak Island display. Here's just a couple of them that I grabbed. Obviously, this is the Restalls, and obviously, you know about the tragedy with the Restalls. But they were down there. That's down at Smith's Cove, and they were digging a pit. This is the pit. Yes, it is. But yeah, there's the family there. Um, and there's the pit there that they were digging, and some of the things that they constructed to move the dirt back and forth and around. It was really amazing. But if you go there, you have to check. And he's got a replica of the 90-foot stone in the display. And if you go there, that again, it's one of those things that if you go there, if you're an Oak Island enthusiast and you go to the area, you must go and see this Danny's display of the Oak Island display. It's one of those things, and then donate or something, whatever. I don't think there's a admission. It's all for donations and whatnot. But this man, he knows Oak Island, and I don't know that I've met anybody that knows Oak Island better than he does. And that's why Carmen called him Mr. Oak Island. So, but it was great. So, the next day was my birthday, the 21st. And so, this is when we headed on down to get on our tour of the Salty Dog Sea Tour with Tony Sampson. We were down there and I did a little live thing. And again, we had a little bit of a malfunction. Nobody could really hear me all that well. Um, let's see, what's that? We had some issues we discovered later. Oh, let's see. I didn't catch the what she was talking about. Um, okay. Yeah, there were some issues. We did have some issues here and there. Oh, yeah, I think he was held it too far away. He did at times, and there was also a setting on I've got a Roadcaster board that I use, a mixing board, and there was a setting on it that I should have flipped the switch the other way, and that was part of what the problem was. So I've learned about that. And again, I'm learning about this, trying to do live remotes and stuff. It'll be much better next time, I promise. The next time we get to do one of these types of things, which will be at Phenomicon when I'm out at in Vernal, Utah. We did this little live going out there, and there's Christina helping me out, and we went live out there and did a little bit of they telling everybody we're getting ready to go on Salty Dog Sea Tours. And there is Karen Howard. Got to meet Karen. Karen did not go on the Salty Dog Sea Tour, but she wanted to come down and meet us and meet Kat and Linda and everybody and Laura. And so she came down, and again, I got an opportunity to. The boat's ready for the next trip. Awesome, Colin Jameson. I hang on just a minute because I'm gonna talk about you for a minute. Yes, I am. But yeah, so everybody, she came down to meet us and everything, and it was so awesome. That was one of the best things about the trip was getting to meet people that like to watch the podcast for whatever reason, and came down to meet us, and then to have Kat and Laura and Linda go on Salty Dog Sea Tours with us, and Colin Jameson was just awesome. It was really, really cool to have you guys there. I was really, hey Seth, how you doing? It was really cool to yeah, you should, Donna. You should take the trip there. It was really good. But there's Karen, and there's Christina and I with Tony. It was, and again, what an awesome day. And there's Colin Jameson, and you see Kat, Linda, and Laura, and I, and Colin Jameson, I tell you what, sir, you have not only been so helpful and wonderful to co-host on the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream, uh, and I'm so glad to call you my friend. Colin is another person who went so far above and beyond to accommodate Christina and I while we were there. I can't thank you enough for everything that you did. Uh, and just what a good friend. I mean, it just awesome. Uh, and I got pictures of us, more to share, but I tell you what, he was, we went over to his house in the morning, went out and had breakfast, and then we went over here to Salty Dog and got on the tour and all of that. So there's a great picture right there. I love this. It was so fun to meet all you. There's a shot on the boat as we're pulling out, getting ready to go on the tour. And yeah, there's another one with Colin, and then Laura's sitting next to me, and of course, Christina. And we're sitting right in the sun, of course, right in the bright sun. It was a little bit overcast at portions of it, so we didn't really think that. Um, uh, we didn't really think too much about the sun. Of course, I should because yeah, it was. By the time we got done, yeah, my face was burnt and glowing for the rest of the time I was in Nova Scotia. But yeah, there we are taking off, and there's Kat and Linda. Awesome. And of course, Tony, and there's Kat and Linda sitting behind him as we were pulling out and getting ready for the tour or starting the tour. And I wanted to save, I got a couple of videos in there, and I wanted to talk about these real quick. Let me make sure that I've got everything turned on here so you can hear some of this. Now, this is part of now there I did go live. Not at first. I wanted to put a microphone on Tony because I wasn't sure again about the whole thing with the vocals that you were going to be able to hear him very well. So I wanted to put a microphone on him, but he was already starting in, and I didn't want to interrupt him and all of this. So we didn't put the microphone on him, but it all came through pretty well anyway. So we pretty much live streamed the entire tour. And Tony was so gracious to let us do that and share that with everybody. This is just a little portion of it here. If you want to check it out, it is in the video is on the J Free 906 YouTube channel. You can check it out. Just scroll down a little bit. You'll find it when you get down to the June stuff. And it's also listed in the podcast under The Curse of Oak Island. You can find it there as well. But this is just a little portion. I'm going to be quiet here for a moment. I'm going to play this and let you hear a little bit of Tony giving his tour for those of you who haven't seen that. So here we go. Hopefully this will work.
And he didn't end up coming directly to Oak Island. He came to a place called Birchtown first. So anybody been to Birchtown? No? Yep. Well done. Put it on your list of things to do while you're here. It's a marvelous museum. It's a Black Loyalist museum down by Shelburne area. And that was the Loyalist or the pirate or privateer hangout. And so Sam was in Birchtown for a couple of years. And I believe while he was there, he liaised with pirates and privateers. And if you go to that museum, it's got a marvelous glass floor. You can walk on it and see all the artifacts under your feet. And they actually have a little bit of detail there about Sam Ball as well. So after that, Sam came up here. And with money that he acquired, instead of taking the 4 acres of land the British government would have given him as a loyalist fighting for them, so 4 acres of fertile land on the mainland, he didn't. He came up here, and with his liaison with an American pirate or privateer, Captain James Anderson, he purchased 4 acres on the other side of the island and ended up with Captain Anderson's lot eventually as well.
There you go. That's a little taste of it. And you see what is this man not a great? Yes, thank you. Right there, Sharon. Sharon Thompson said that he is a great storyteller. Goes above and beyond, man. It was really, really good. And that's just a little taste. But if you want to see the whole thing, check out the video on our YouTube channel right here. And you can hear him explaining everything as we went along. It was awesome. Really, really cool. This is another one. And what he does quite often is he'll go when he goes around the island, when Tony does. When he's going around the island, he will come over when he sees activity and he'll honk his horn. And some people will be waiting for us. Like you see, this is Mr. Charles Barkhouse coming out to say hi. And I've heard stories that once in a while, one of the folks from the island he'll pull right up to the rocks and the person will jump on the boat and ride around for a little while with the tour. So you may get lucky enough to have that happen if you're out there. I did see Jack Begley when we were there. I did see Jack, and Jack jumped on the boat with the folks, and whoever they were that got that opportunity. Jack Begley jumped on the boat and went on a tour with everyone. And I heard recently that Marty was looking for a ride. This is when all the flooding was just happening recently, and Marty was looking. He needed to get over to the island, and I guess the roads were all tore up and a lot of damage in the area. And so Tony actually took him over on the tour. Could you imagine being on a tour and then not only do you have Tony Sampson, but then you have one of the guys from the island or ladies from the island jump on and join you? What a treat, right? So there you go. Oh, Laura says I was lucky enough to have Jack on the boat. See there? That's what I'm saying right there. It is so cool. So when we pulled up to the beach over here, now this is around on the side where the old lumber mill was. That's what those you see those concrete pillars. And so yeah, that's the one thing too. Tony has some other great skippers. He's not always the skipper on every tour. He has some other ones, and obviously he gets called away once in a while to have to work elsewhere. So some of the other guys will take the tours as well. So you don't always get him, but I was very fortunate to have Tony on our tour. And I'm going to play this one here real quick. This is Charles coming out, and listen to as the goes back and forth here. I'm going to play this real quick.
That's not what he told us. He said he's number one.
For me?
He told us he was number one.
Well, that's a debate we often have.
Oh, okay.
No, he's number one in my heart. Oh, thank you, brother. You're welcome, brother. Anyway, I hope you folks are going to have a beautiful day. You couldn't be with anybody any better. Giving you a great tour. And hopefully next year,
we'll be able to get some people on the island for tours. So
That'd
until
be
then,
Yay!
you couldn't be with anybody any better, except maybe me.
Well, you want to come out and join us, buddy?
I'd love to, but I'm working. Anyway, you guys have a great day.
Thanks so much, brother.
Anytime, brother.
What's the structure?
Oh, this here. Okay,
Sawmill.
where was I? You remind me, get me back to where I was. before.
Did you get that on video?
Cabbages.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
this-
there you go. Isn't that cool? I mean, that's what happens quite often on these tours when you're with Tony, that he will come around and see the guys from the, and they just come right out to the beach and talk, and you know, that's a special treat, truly. So that was very nice of Charles to take a moment. He was actually filming over there. If you can see the, oh, let me get the picture back up so you can see what I'm talking about here. You can actually see the little ATVs in the background and stuff. He was actually over there filming something at the moment, doing a spot interview or something. And he saw us come around, and so he came over and gave us a little talked with us for a few minutes, which was really, really cool. So, and you got to see this gentleman right here. As we came around the other side, we were right there. You can tell that we were sitting just off of the swamp, and some work was going on out there at the time. So there's Mr. Billy Gerhardt, and he spun the excavator around and gave us a wave and a hi and everything. He didn't get out and talk like too much like Charles did, but he gave us a wave and everything. So that was really cool. And we also saw this gentleman right here cruising by, and he was on a mission. And so, you know, if you can see who that is inside the ATV there, that is Mr. Stephen Guptill. And so off he goes. You can see he's got his GPS stick. He's hauling with him somewhere. So he's off busy heading over to take some measurements with or get some GPS coordinates done. Oh, cool. I was just reading something that Linda sent over to me. Am I allowed to talk about that and say it? Oh, okay. It says Kat and Renee and Linda are going on the Salty Dog in September, and Gretchen is going to be with them. Or hopes to join. Hopes to join. How cool was that? Gretchen Cornwall, right? Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. So yeah, so here we go. So you get to see all of these faces, and here we go. Now, once the Salty Dog Sea Tour was finished, we went back over, we disembarked from his boat, and we stood around and talked for a while with Colin. And then we went over to Colin's place, and Colin's like, hey, let's jump down and get in the boat. We'll cruise over and get some lunch. And I'm like, okay, we're going to jump in the boat and go get some lunch. Okay. All right. Sounds good. So we jump in his boat over at his house, and he's cruising. He takes us on a tour through the little bays here. And we go over to Chester, and I mean, look at here again, you know, look at the area. It's just beautiful. All these little houses. And like I said, everybody's got a boat. And we go, and again, boy, some of these houses, I thought, you know, just too big. Just give me a little, one or two little bedroom shack right there on the edge of the water. And, you know, I can have a lot of fun, you know, and I would have to go get a boat. It might be a rowboat or a canoe or a kayak, but I would have a boat so I could get around out there. Jess is going to get into some shenanigans up there, huh? Okay. Be careful with Jess. I met her, so. Jess Grollo, by the way, is the one who does the tumblers that I have, that has the logo. I don't have one here to show. I'm not in my usual studio, as you can tell. But Jess Grollo does those. And if you want to help support the show, you can always get a tumbler, and you can get them from Jess and her place. It's blue6laser.com. There's a link down below for it. You can click on that link and it'll take you right there. Anne says she loves her tumbler. Thank you. So yeah, she does fantastic work, and we really appreciate. Jess was also on Beyond Oak Island a couple of times, her and her husband Mike, with the Poverty Island episode. If you have seen that, you'll know who Jess is. Jess and Mike Grollo. So there you go. And Rick's Engraving. There you go. She does Rick's Engraving also. Uncle Rick. There we are. We're over in Chester, and we're getting. I don't know if we were getting back on after lunch, or we looked pretty happy. So it was a great. It was a great lunch. But here you go. You take your boat and you cruise over to Chester. Let's go over to Chester and have some lunch. So you dock your boat there on one of the piers, and you walk into town. You get your lunch or whatever. You walk back and jump back on your boat. And now you go cruise somewhere else, right? So we were talking to Colin at the time and said, he's like, well, where do you want to go? I said, well, just take us around a little bit and show us some more of this beautiful area. So he did. We went and looked at some more wonderful places, and he actually let Christina pilot the boat, skipper the boat there for a little while. So that was a lot of fun. A little scary, but fun. I'm glad she's got the instruments there and everything to tell her, the navigation to tell her where to stay clear of. And we also did a little fishing with them as well. We caught a few. I think they were just fishing for some bait fish. We were trying to get some mackerels that you could keep and use for bait fish. So we did a little bit we caught a few real small. We had to toss them back. They weren't big enough, but yeah, so we actually did a little fishing there too while we were out. Yeah, it was a fantastic day. It truly, the whole week was. And there is Colin and his father, and we're having lunch. Another one of the wonderful lunches somewhere. I don't remember the name of this place. Um, Help me out, Colin. What was the name of this particular restaurant where we ate? Great food. I don't think there was I didn't have bad food anywhere. No, it wasn't. Oh my God, that was a different place, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But this one was great. Really, really good food. Seaside Shanty Restaurant. Yes, that was it. Thank you. All right. Yeah, that one was a really good. It was really hot that day, so that's why we were sitting inside. We were sitting outside, and it was just so muggy and hot. So we went inside in the air conditioning. But um, as you can see my face, I'm still glowing over there with the burnt face. So I was happy to get in out of the sun for a little while. But there is now one of the things we were talking to Colin about, and he took us around. He was showing us all these different places and little different bays and whatnot. And he says, where do you want to go? And I said, Colin, I don't know, what life hands us. I may never get up here again. Could we go back around Oak Island one more time? And I'm sorry, but he's like, oh, absolutely. Off we went. Um, yeah. Today my feet match my face in that picture because I got burned feet now. Wow, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, so we went back over, and of course, there we are. We got the osprey nest. Got to get a picture of that as we were there, and a picture up there on the money pit. They were doing some drilling at the time. Now remember, this is back in June. And then we have the excavator that Billy was working at. Excuse me, and you can see the pump that was working, pumping out the swamp. And they also had this excavator right here with the pile driver on it. And that apparatus, I can't imagine that baby right there is very cheap. But they got the pile driver on there to put the piles in around the um, all around the swamp area. And remember when we saw that? We saw that on that was on the drilling down that was after the season finale, and Rick and Marty were talking about that, and they were talking about, and they actually showed a little diagram of what it would look like when they actually put it down. It won't go up, and as far as the eye of the swamp, it's not going to go quite that far, but it's going to encompass most of that and also part of the roadway. How they're going to pull that off, I'm not sure. To get vehicles through there to get over to the money pit, I'm not sure, but they'll figure that all out. They're the engineers and everything going on. So, but anyway, that was what that unit was there for. And then we come around to the other side of the island, and we've seen some activity going on, and we're like, what's happening over here? So we kind of pulled up. You see how close we are to the shore. We pulled up there pretty close. We could actually hear them talking. And we were trying to be very quiet. And then once we didn't know at first, we saw the bunch of vehicles parked. All the little ATVs were parked over to the side. And then we saw some activity. We were being kind of nosy as tourists would be, right? And once we saw what's happening over here, and I'm going to zoom in because you see this person right here that's digging in a hole and that's Rick Lagina. And he's digging in a hole that has been something has been metal detected in, and over on lot 5. So we're waiting to see this. I'm waiting to see this on film or on the show to find out exactly what was going on. Now, not every find, we know not every find makes television, not even some of the good stuff, because they do find an awful lot of modern nails and pull tabs and things that are just BS. So we have no idea what was found here or what they were digging up here. But there's Rick, um, reaching down into that hole. Now we couldn't really tell who was all who at first while we were sitting there until we saw the cameras. And there's Steve Guptill standing there. Now, it's usually an important find when they call Steve over to get a GPS coordinate. Now, he does GPS on probably just about every find they have, whether it's junk or not, I would imagine. He's a busy man. But you see John Levy standing there and with the cameraman, and that's Laird Niven standing right there with his back to us. When we saw the camera, and then over here is where they're working, and there's Rick in there and all that. So when we saw the camera, that's kind of when we started thinking, oh, we probably shouldn't be here right now. We're intruding on this. And Colin, when he goes and gets his pictures on the weekends, he is very careful not to go over there and disturb them while they're filming and all of that. He doesn't want to go during the week, but he did this because I asked him to. So we went over there. And at this point, this was about the point we were thinking, maybe we should get out of here. so Colin quietly put the boat into reverse, and we started backing out of there very quietly, so we didn't disturb anybody. But as you saw, they had the cameras and they were looking the other direction. So, but we didn't want to have the noise of the boat come over or anything like that. So we quietly backed our way out of there. So, yeah, they do. So anyway, so we were there and actually saw Rick Lagina digging into a hole to pull out whatever it was that was there. And, we were kind of figuring when we came around and we saw this right here, a budget truck. Now, if they found some great thing, some religious artifact or the money pit, they found the treasure, what would be the best way, nondescript way to get it off the island? And I'm thinking budget truck. Nobody's going to check a budget truck, right? You can load that thing up with all the treasure and get it back off the island. Nobody would ever look in there, right? So we knew from our interview with Laird and Emma that they were not done yet on lot 5. Guess they were not kidding us. That's right, Tom. Exactly right. So yeah, I figured budget truck. You see a budget truck show up, and they're going to be hauling the treasure away in the budget truck. You think? Yeah. Oh, that's my guess. Anyway, there you go. All right. So also we got Tom Nolan's house. I grabbed a picture of that. What a beautiful place. And again, try not to be intrusive. So we kind of just grabbed a picture and off we went and got out of there real quick. But man, what a beautiful place that is. Isn't that awesome? Man. And the new dock and everything and all that is just wonderful. Actually, there's somebody out there working right now. I didn't even catch that at first. But yeah, so Tom Nolan's house. This is up looking at, this would probably be what lots. This is on the backside of if you left the money pit, Smith's Cove is down here around the corner. This is like the Boulderless Beach area. Then I'm not sure what lot would that be, Linda. Would that be like 18, 19, somewhere around in there, maybe? I don't know, something like that. So we got that picture there. And then we spotted this flag on the beach. And there it is right there. Now, who do you know that sticks little flags in the ground and goes back and metal detects them later? Right? Gary Drayton. So we're thinking, man, if I could just sneak over there. It's right there on the beach. It's so close and easy. I could just go dig it up real fast. No, we'd never do that, of course. But we noticed that flag right there. That's not a Gary flag? Oh. 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 Scott. All right. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Oh, you heard that. Stay tuned. All right. So yeah, so we saw that little flag there. So we thought, oh, that's got to be a good find. Hello, Scott. Thank you for coming by. Appreciate it. Scott Barlow, everybody. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, so there's some more of the backside over the hill from the money pit. Not quite Smith's Cove, but around between the Smith's Cove and Nolan property. The lots over there. And of course, you know what that is. That's the wash plant right there at Smith's Cove. And there's somebody's feet. Now, when we were coming back around to the other side there, to the side with the uh, South Shore, basically coming around, and also the south side of the swamp area. Colin, he's like, you couldn't see over that. They made that wall there, to protect the shoreline from the storms and whatnot. They piled up all those rocks. You couldn't really see over it very well, and I kind of wanted to see, right? So Colin tells me, he says, "Hey, go up and sit on the. You can go stand on top." Well, I thought, okay, I'm gonna go up there, but I didn't want to stand. I just felt weird about standing on top of his roof up there, so I just went up there and sat, and I dropped, uh, yeah, I know, right? Get your feet out of the way. You're trying to see where we're going here. So yeah, I go up there and I sit down and we're cruising around a little bit. And then we come over by. Well, before we get to this picture, let me set this up. So here we are. I'm riding on top, and Colin is bringing us around, and I'm looking over, there where the excavators are, and the pile driver by the swamp. And somebody, and I think Christina said something about a drone, and I'm like, a drone? And I look up, and sure enough, here comes a drone that was over the swamp. It was out over the swamp, and it's coming our way. And I'm like, it did not look like a production drone to me. It looked like a private, somebody, a private drone. And it's flying towards us, and it comes right out over top of us and stops. It's hovering over us, out over the boat, and looking at us, and it's just hovering there for a bit. And I'm like, uh-oh. And then it kind of flies off, and it goes out over the water, and then it comes back. And when it comes back, it flies right, the boom of the pile driver, it had its boom up, and it flew right under it, right through it. So it was pretty interesting. And it goes back over, back over to the swamp area. And I thought, okay, I thought that was a private drone, somebody's private drone. Well, then moments later, we see this ATV come flying down from the money pit area, and he's cruising. Whoever it is cruising. I mean, dust is flying behind this thing as he's cruising down there, and I hear somebody yell out to us. I thought I heard the words drone, and I was like, "Uh-oh, they think it's our drone," and I'm waving my hands at whoever's coming down here yelling at us from this four-wheeler. I'm waving my hands going, "It's not our drone. It's not our drone." I'm telling you, so I'm thinking we're going to get in trouble, right? Well, it turns out it's Mr. Scott Barlow. And there he is right there. So Scott, once we realize who it is, he recognized Colin's boat. So he comes cruising down there. And no, it turns out it's one of theirs. As you see Scott saying right there, those are our security drones. They asked if we wanted them to take you out. So, great. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, that's nice. Uh, anyway, so there's Scott, right? So Scott and I we're kind of yelling back and forth across the expanse of water there. We didn't want to get too close because it's really shallow right there. So we're kind of yelling back and forth, talking to Scott a little bit, and he tells us, "Oh, that's one of ours." Oh, okay, all right, no problem. So I got a chance to at least yell across the water to Scott Barlow a little bit there, and that was again, where does this kind of thing happen? Only in Nova Scotia with these wonderful people up there. Um, so that was a lot of fun. So we got a chance to talk. And then we're taking Scott's picture, right? And Scott took our picture from the shore. So there's where we are, and we're yelling back and forth across that expanse of water. Yeah. Tourists are easily recognized. Yeah, because they're usually some idiot sitting on top of of somebody's boat and taking pictures and stuff of Oak Island. Yeah, we're pretty obvious to pick out amongst the crowd, I would imagine. Darn tourists, right? You can't. Yeah, what do you do with them, right, Scott? You take them out, I guess. But anyway, so that was a lot of fun. So later on that evening, we're going. Yeah. We were with a non-tourist. We were with a local. So we were like that. We should be fine, right? Yes. Thank you, Colin. So we're a guest of a local. So we're in a different category. So yeah. So we go over to the Mug and Anchor. I had to go to the Mug and Anchor, right? So we were going over there. We had planned to go there for dinner that night. Colin's taking us over there. And I wasn't I started to get the feeling like something was going on. And then so we get to the Mug and Anchor, and Colin took us for a little walk first. Down to the marina down there. So we went by the marina and then we came back to the Mug and Anchor. And they got I love the stock out front. You see that? Yeah. You can get locked up in the stock out front. So, and I'm going to show this little video here. Now, this little video, this is as we're walking into the Mug and Anchor. We're coming up the stairs to go up to the restaurant area. And I turn around and oh, there's Christina. Hey, everybody. Hope we love our pictures. She took a lot of pictures. She took a lot of the video too. So yeah. So anyway, we're coming up the stairs and I turn around and I look and I go, I recognize this guy. So I had to stop and talk to him for a minute. So here I'm going to show this little video. It's only a couple seconds long here. Oh, it looks like it's about a minute. Anyway, all right. So I'm going to play this real quick for you. Hopefully it's not too loud.
Yeah, I saw you there. I'm like, I've seen you on TV.
Brandon from Choice Drilling. He owns the company. Great guy. I'm like, well, who's here? Brandon. Why she was filming, I really didn't know. I didn't actually realize that she was filming. She was just walking with a camera.
I am. This would be your table.
Laird, Scott, Tim.
How you doing? Man, see you. Good to see you. Trip up was good. Long, but yes, very good. Oh, so you guys are here often? I'm Brandon. No?
No, just on special occasions.
Just on birthday.
It's just on birthday.
Just on birthday.
Yeah.
Well, that's when they told me that. I said, I asked, in case you didn't hear that, I'm asking those guys. I come around the corner and there's Scott and Laird and there's Kat and Linda. And of course, Brennan was following us up the stairs. And and I was like, so what are you guys all doing here? You come here for dinner still? Quite, because we hadn't seen how they hang out at the Mug and Anchor. They used to go there like at the end of most every show and have a little meeting over there and a crown or whatever with Dave Blankenship. And so I'm like, you guys come here, for dinner or something. Oh yeah, special occasions, like birthdays. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's my birthday. And I'm like, what? Sure enough, that's why they were there. And Linda and Kat are guilty for helping to set all this up and surprise me with this birthday. It was a surprise birthday party for me. And again, I'm just, I didn't know how to take all this. I really didn't. But their accomplices, Kat and Linda, and I don't know if Laura was involved in that too. And Colin was involved in it. He knew all about it. And it was, I got a few pictures and I got to share here as we go along, but this was the best birthday. I mean, we're going to, Colin was very involved. Okay. All right. So I'll get even with him one of these days. You mark my words, I will. But anyway, so, so we get inside, there's Kat and Linda and, yeah, the two accomplices to this whole thing. And there is Karen Howard and her husband. And I'm so sorry, I don't remember his name. I didn't write it down, and I don't remember his name, but there they are. They were there too. So they got to experience all this and see everybody. Oh, you can see the cake uh, in the foreground there. And here's some more people that showed up while we were sitting there. So you see Laird and Scott, Doug Crawl, Judy Rudabush is there. Rob Howard. Thank you, Rob. Okay. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Rob Howard. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I couldn't remember his name, Rob. But yeah, so there they are. And Doug. I got to meet Doug and Judy and I met Scott. You guys know I met Scott down in Florida. That was a chance thing to meet Scott in Florida. And then, Laird has been on the podcast, got to meet Laird and sitting over to my left over there is Tony, but I got some more pictures and I had to get this. Everybody said, Jeff, you got to try this stuff. And I'm like, I had no idea what it was. Poutine, I think it's called. Did I say that right, Linda? Poutine? Okay, yeah. It's basically French fries with gravy. Yes, French fries with gravy and cheese. And it was good. It was. So I said, I gotta have this. I gotta try it. Everybody said you gotta try this stuff. So I did. It was actually quite good. Yeah, Tara's jumping in there. Yeah, poutine. Yeah, poutine. Yeah, it was squeaky cheese. Yes, it was squeaky cheese. No, the cheese curds. You're right. The gravy kind of takes some of the squeak out, but yeah, it was good. It was really really good. But I had to try it. It's one of those things when you're here, you got to do this. So I did. But yeah, that's what I had for dinner, amongst other things. And there's Steve Guptill. Steve Guptill was there. You see Tony in the side, and they folks. I got to tell you, again, part of the whole surprise of this whole thing was, I mean, how do you end up and have the folks from the Curse of Oak Island TV show not only have throw a surprise birthday party for you, and most of them, all these guys show up and they sing happy birthday to him. Now, I won't talk about off key or anything like that, but they sang happy birthday. It was just surreal. I mean, honestly. And they gave me this shirt and a hat, and I don't have the hat with me, but I got a hat. It's um, back at the up in Michigan. So yeah, so there's that start of that, and I'm sitting over next to Tim Longcarich, Longcarich. Tim Longcarich is Alessandra's husband, sitting right there next to me. And he brought a gift that I'm still going through. Oh my gosh. Um, it yeah. I mean, does it get much better than that right there? No, it truly doesn't. Um, and just everybody was so awesome. And a cake. Look at that cake. Look at that huge cake. And it was so we were so much cake. We were trying to tell the people in the whole restaurant. We're like, because there's all these other people in the place, as you could hear in the voices, and we're like, yeah, give everybody some cake. Everybody gets some birthday cake in the whole place. Um, all the other patrons in the place. The cake was from Linda. It was good. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, look at that. Is that cool or what? Man, it was really awesome. There I am cutting the cake, of course. Yeah, well. And I got my shovel, the Jack Root Digger 6000, the Jack Begley Root Digger 6000. They got me that shovel. They had it in a big package, as you can see right there, all wrapped up, and gave me that. So when I'm out doing my metal detecting, um, no butter tarts. I didn't know they made butter tarts. I didn't hear about that one, David. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was trivia night at the Mug and Anchor that night, so it was a full house. The place was packed with people, and then we had a reserved table. So we were limited to how many people could be there that night. So they ended up having a second night. So we came again on a second night. The shovel from Jan and me, that's from Linda, and Kat picked it up and wrapped it. So yeah, awesome. It was just so cool. So I got the shirt, hat, the shovel, this this hard drive right here came from Tim, and it's got Alessandra's books on it. It's got a lot of Tim's research and stuff on it. This is like gold right here too. I mean, I'm telling you, all the gifts were just so awesome. And I didn't expect any of this. Honestly, it just blew me away. That right there is the coin that that Cat won it, right? Cat won this coin. It was one of our giveaways on the Skinwalker Ranch series, and it is a alien. It's a coin that has been stamped out. It's got an alien face on it. Um, and she won that as a giveaway. It's got a pin on the backside, and she won that as a giveaway from our podcast. And she had told Linda, I guess, that if she wins this, she's going to give it to Jeff. Well, she wrapped up and gave it to me for my birthday that night. And again, what a great gift. Just awesome. Um, just so cool. All this stuff. There she is there. Yeah. Thank you, Kat. And I still have that and I love it. Absolutely love it. So thank you so much for that. It's called a hobo nickel. Oh, okay. All right, cool. There's a birthday card. I think it says something about I can't hardly read it out here. It's windy today. No, it's Thursday. So am I. Let's get a beer. Yeah. Anyway, old guys like me and losing their hearing, I suppose. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Kat and Linda are amazing. Presents and the cake, and Colin did the reservations, and the hobo nickel was donated by Maya. So there you go. Maya did that. She donated that thing. So yeah, there you go. I mean, yeah.
Shower too, didn't you?
That was.
Look, Cheryl,
As soon as we went.
You know what? That's a real working man. We really do.
Lost track of what day it is.
Here, we got your presents.
Oh, a present.
Yeah, we're doing
A present?
How is everybody?
Good.
You know what I what do they call it? Amy?
How are you?
What do they call them here? Amy?
Some are very something for you.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I open it now?
I believe you just tear it. Don't get too
Careful there. See the phone line wrapping that.
Some fancy wrapping paper.
Hey, you know what?
Come on, Jeff, put your muscles into it.
Just rip it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the English couple.
The younger couple.
Yeah.
I should be doing
Oh my
this.
God.
Read the back of
There
it.
you go.
I didn't see you hiding.
Yeah, that was when I got the hat for Nettie Dental Service. Actually, it was really cool. And this, you see him wearing them on the island all the time. And this shirt that I'm wearing right now, I think I got one more little clip here. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I want to say hello.
I'm so weird, I'm surprised when you walked out there today.
I found something in our safe, and we know Tim Wolf belongs to you because I just confirmed with Tony there was not a Steve Carlo on the island. So, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. So we're guessing that is a typo. It's supposed to be Scott. Okay.
Actually, I go by the name of Steve Miles.
You? I guess you were you can have
Yeah. Jack,
What can I get for you to drink?
I'll have
Jack,
a beer of some
hold it
type.
up again.
Hold it up again.
This.
Or do you want a minute to get situated or hang back?
There we go.
You get stuff.
Yeah, she was.
know what I.
Yeah, I've got everybody but you and Jeff.
Punch your ass down,
All
but.
right.
Doug is coming. He's waiting for Judy to pick him up.
You can just see how much fun it was on Friday night, because they were limited seating because of the trivia night going on. They couldn't all be there the same night, and it was unfortunate for that we had to, and again, I had no idea that this was taking place, but they broke it up, and then they had a second night that I came back on Friday night, and that's when I got to sit and actually meet with Ian Spooner, as you see right there, and Jeffrey Irving was there. And Tony is actually sitting right back over here. That's his shoulder in the corner back there. He's with some guests that he had that had they were on his tour that came all the way around, and he brought them for dinner to the Mug and Anchor. So I got to meet those folks too. So I mean, I kind of yep, yeah. And so, man, I mean, it was just Karen public cover. Yep. And then I got this hat. This is a hat that Ian Spooner brought and signed by most everybody on the island. Really cool. And that's another just an awesome gift. It just blew me away. There's Jeff Irving and I. And you see that shirt that I'm wearing. This is one of those things right here. I had this was the second night on Friday night. And Tony, I had given Tony one of my J Free 906 t-shirts that I'm wearing, and you can see him holding it there in his hand. And I said, Tony, you've been so wonderful to me this whole entire trip to Christina and I wanted to give you something. So I gave him one of my shirts. What else? What do I have to give him? Right there on the spot, the man takes off the shirt he is wearing and he gives it to me. And I was just like, you see the look on my face. I'm just like, I'm looking over at Christina going, and I'm like, he just gave me his shirt, the shirt he was wearing. Yeah, I know, Christy. I truly, I was like, and then I put it on and I was like, oh yeah. And it fit perfectly. I mean, it fit me perfectly. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I am somebody now, buddy. And you're right. Who said that? That was Lauren. That is exactly how awesome Tony is. Everybody was like that. I mean, everybody up there that I met, whether they were on the island or just met them in a restaurant or people that were around that we talked to. No. But I mean, everybody was just so friendly. It was that maritime, hospitality from people. It was just, I mean, just great. Yeah. And there's a picture with the guys. I mean, it was just, it was truly, truly just an awesome experience going to that. There's Colin and Brennan kicking back and having a cold one and everything. So, yeah, and there's that was my piece of the cake. That was the skull and crossbones, and that was the piece I wanted, the skull and crossbones. And so then the next day, so that was actually parts of that was Friday night, and parts of that was Wednesday night. On Thursday, well, we had already planned that we were going to meet up with Carmen, and Carmen said, "Hey, I've got something I have to do in the morning. Can I, meet up with you guys about noon?" Hey, no problem, Carmen. You tell us. It's, what's your schedule? And we'll just, meet up with you. And he was going out of his way to meet up with us. He wanted to take us around and show us some stuff. He did the same thing with Tom and Henry when Tom and Henry were up there. Then he said to me, he says, well, he goes, you ever played shuffleboard? And I was like, no, never. And Christina, you ever played? No. So he goes, well, why don't you, he goes, can you meet me in Berwick by, I think it was 9 o'clock in the morning or something like this. I Google it real quick, see what the distance is. Sure enough, we can make it. I said, yep, we can be there. He says, well, meet me in Berwick at the park there, 9 o'clock that morning or 10 o'clock, something like that. Anyway, we show up over there and we're playing shuffleboard with Carmen Legg. Again, that hospitality. And so there we are. And all these other people that were just wonderful people, they just brought us right. Hey, come on over here and you'll team up with us and we'll play. And so we played, a few games of shuffleboard with these folks, and it was just so much fun. And then Carmen took us out and around the countryside. And there's a couple of stones that were there, carved stones that were there. I had to take a picture of them. Yeah, that was a big spider or an octopus, I think it was. And then a dragonfly. I don't know what that was, but it was really cool on those stones there. We went over to a museum, the Grand Prix National Historic Park. These were some of this was where, and you can see after Great Britain and France declared war, 1744, hostilities erupted in Acadia, Nova Scotia. Caught in the middle, the Acadians aimed to protect their interests without fully committing to one side or the other. Well, unfortunately, there was reason for the British to think that they were helping the French or something, and of course they ended up being deported anyway, out of there. And this was one that talking about some evaded deportation, of whom a small number carried on guerrilla resistance against the British forces. Um, and some of them ended up down in Louisiana. So that's where you get the Cajun uh, influence down there. But we went to this museum with Carmen. He took us over there. It was great. Got to see all of that, and then we went up on this hill. Trying to remember again. I'm at a loss for. I've tried to write all these things down so I could remember these places. But we're up on top of this hill overlooking this valley. Now, this valley, they built up these aqueducts and stuff to try to help keep or and dams and stuff to keep all the water out of this area so they could utilize it and make farmland out of this area here. So, a really cool spot. And there's Carmen and I up there with Christina, of course. And then I took a panorama view, a look off of Bloomington. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Kat. Annapolis Valley. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. Yeah, the college boys ran the game. Yeah, it kept us folks in line. Old folks. What a beautiful sight. And Carmen took us all around this whole area. We went out and had lunch and stuff. And again, he took time out of his day to take us around and show us the area. Just, and again, that hospitality. Then we went over to meet Alessandra Nadavari. And Alessandra, has been on my show a few times. She's got her own podcast that she does. And it's a great show that she does, interviewing different people. But we got to go over to the property she owns where the well is. And this is where everybody talks about um, the fact that there may be a castle here at this, or a mansion that was built here on this property at some point. I don't know. They've had some issues with that, but this is the well that Tony dove and found that little triangle on one of the stones as he went down. Some people say there's a false bottom in it and that it goes down into some tunnels. Nobody knows for sure. A Templar castle. Well, they were thinking, or Sinclair castle of some sort. Don't know. But that's the running theory on some that that is there, and this well has been around. And I look down in, there's a picture of it. I'm over here. Yeah. Carmen, I'm giving Carmen my expertise on this. And he's going, yeah, you don't know anything. no, I'm just teasing. But there's Christine and Carmen and Alessandra. And I think I did. Oh, one picture of the well. Now they did put that concrete top on it to preserve it. That's obviously very new, and the pipe going down inside, but you look down inside there and you can see that old stone. This thing has been around a long, long time. So, who built it? The Mi'kmaws even talk about it being there. So, I mean, it's been around a long time. So I'm not really sure. Carmen and I, we were looking around at some of the rock. There's a big, giant pile of rocks back behind the backside of the property. And this particular one, we were looking at it. And you know what Carmen was looking for right off the bat? He was looking for chisel marks to see if it had been chiseled. He said this would have been a great stone for like the step going into someone's house. So that big stone you would put down for where the welcome mat would be, that big stone right there on the bottom. He said that would have been a perfect stone for that. It was flat, perfectly flat on both sides, and about 6 inches thick. And there was other stones around. It was really, really interesting. Again, why are these stones there like that? I don't know. And so then after we get done with all that, a couple days later, we ended up going over and we're heading for Peggy's Cove. Everybody said, you got to go to Peggy's Cove Lighthouse. This is one of the stops on the way. We just stopped and took pictures wherever we saw beautiful pictures. This is one of them here. The lobster traps and everything. And there's a bunch of lobster traps back here. Look at them all piled up on there. Big industry. And I just love these boats. I just love this picture that we took out there. And I saw this campground. And this is in the same place, just looking over a little bit to the right. I saw this look like a campground. You see all these people camping. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to scope this out when I come back next time. I want to bring the camper. I didn't bring the camper on this trip, the RV. So I thought, man, that looked like a neat campground over there. But again, just look at how clear that water is. Beautiful. This is over by the lighthouse. This is a monument that was carved for everyone there and all the fishermen over the years. Yeah. Sinclair equals Templar. I think, yeah, you could be right. There's a lot of people that believe that. I kind of lean to say, yes, I think Sinclair had something to do with the Templars. That's just based upon all the different theories that I've heard from different people, because I've had a lot of them on my show talking about their theories, and I've kind of put that together. I think Sinclair is tied to the Templars. This was a shack that was on the way. It was a fisherman. This old fisherman guy was in there, and we got a chance to go in and talk to him a little bit. Christina and I did. Really neat guy, and his the stuff that he had inside. This is inside his shack. Some different things you could buy in there, and jawbone from a fin whale, washed up. He just said it washed up on the beach. Different stuff that he had inside. There's Christina and I at the lighthouse. And of course, the lighthouse. And I showed this picture here is another one of those panorama pictures that I had taken. You see this guy right here. And I guess this happens like almost daily here. I had no idea. There's a guy out there playing bagpipes. And he started playing after we got there. We didn't actually walk down. Everybody was saying, stay off the black rocks. And Christina was telling some people that were selling T-shirts and hoodies and things over there in another spot that you should make a shirt that says that on it. Stay off the black rocks. The black rocks are this portion over here. These over here, because they're slippery. And if it's a little bit windy or stormy or whatever, people fall in there. I guess a couple people a year get swept into the ocean right here. And some have not made it. I don't know. That's what we were told. Everybody around that area said, stay off the black rocks. Don't go down that far. Because it happens. Every year they lose a couple people every year. Very slippery. Yeah, Renee said that. So yeah, stay off the black rocks. You'll hear that a lot when you go to see Peggy's Cove. There have been many lives lost by those who have gone on those black rocks. Yep, Darlene. Thank you. Yep. Just tuning up.
Oh, now we have to go down there, babe.
I had to get a clip of this guy playing. I know it's windy, but not something you hear every day, is it? Another one of those things you see when you're out in Nova Scotia and here. Awesome. Just awesome. While we were sitting over there at we had lunch over at the cafe there, the Lighthouse Cafe. And I was asking the waitresses because I knew from Tom, when Tom went out there, Tom and Henry, and they had pictures, and I remember seeing pictures that they had taken from the Glooscap Stone looking back towards Peggy's Cove and the lighthouse. And so I was asking the waitresses, Christina and I were having lobster mac and cheese. It was awesome. Anyway, We gotta make some of that. We gotta make some lobster mac and cheese. We gotta try that someday. So anyway, I'm looking off in the distance and I'm going, it's gotta be out there on that hillside someplace. You can see this hillside. And I'm like, it's gotta be over there somewhere. And I'm asking the waitress, and she said, no, never heard of the goose cap stone. She started talking about the monument. There's an actual monument that somebody had built or carved of goose cap. It's a full-on body, a person. I said, no, 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 no. This is like a roughly carved stone that people have said is up on this hill somewhere overlooking Peggy's Cove and out to sea. They had no idea. They were asking around the other waitresses. Nobody had ever heard of it before. So, and I thought, okay, well, it's got to be around here somewhere. Well, as we're leaving, I actually get a phone call from, or a text first and then a phone call from John Edwards. And John is like, Jeff, you got to go there. You're right there. You got to go see the Glooscap Stone. You can't miss this opportunity to go out there. And I said, okay, where is it? So he tells me where he describes how I get there. Well, literally it was, and I pulled over as we were leaving, and I pulled over, and sure enough, it was right around the corner. I mean, I was it was where I was looking when we were sitting at the cafe. So we parked the truck right there, blocking the sign. I got over as far as I could off the edge of the road. There's actually a little path, a trail. Christine and I hoofed it. Off we go. And we went up there. So I don't know, about quarter of a mile long, half a mile, maybe something like that. And we hoof it up there. And sure enough, there it is up on this hill. And it's an easy go if you ever, like, again, one of those things, if you get a chance, you need to go out there. Terry DeVoe had taken, and Alessandra and Nikki, Alessandra's son, Nikki, had taken Henry and Tom out here to see it. I didn't get that tour, but we did get out there to see it. And so we're taking the trail, and you can see it on the hillside there. Oh, I will. Thank you, Christina. Yes, I briefly thought of that. I do have to talk about that too, and I will here in just a moment. So anyway, we get up there, and there it is. There's the stone. And sure enough, there's the look back at the lighthouse from up there on the hill. Now I am zoomed in out a little bit so you can see it clearly. I kind of zoomed it in a little. But yeah, and there's the stone. Now folks, you see pictures of it, and when you see it in person, you're like, man, it does really look like somebody crudely carved this stone so that it would be looking out to sea or could be seen from the ocean, because it's right up there on the hill. Now, if I would have been where we were sitting at Peggy's Cove at the cafe, if I'd have had, an eyeglass or binoculars, I could have seen this very clearly from where we were. I did not. Of course, that's why we couldn't see it. A bit of a stone face. Yeah. But it does look like it's been carved. Not only that, but also you see this lichen or this growth that's on like this rock here in the foreground right here. And it's on the backside, but not on the front. It's like it's been all removed off the front of this where the face would be. And it looks like the mouth and the nose and everything. I mean, there it is. It's right there. There we are walking up to it. And you're on stone, this whole hillside up here. When you get up on it, it's like one big stone with a little bit of growth on top of it. And we're walking around on it up there. And here's another stone that's just perched. It is actually sitting on 3 different smaller stones. And there's a better picture of it coming up here in a minute. There's another look at the Glooscap. And there's Christina about to get crushed. There's looking at the Glooscap stone from the other side. We came up the path down here, coming up the hill, and so this is looking at it from the other side, but it's still all that lichen or whatever it is all cleaned off from it on the side, on the face side, and it's like the hair. It's like it was all left where the hair would be. And there's another shot looking back at the lighthouse, and there's that other rock. Now, folks, could a glacier have left it? Yeah, I suppose it could have. But look at the way this thing is perched. Okay, you've got this giant boulder sitting there. It's leaning on this one, and this one it's off the ground. Half of it is off the ground, more than half. It's sitting on its edge. It's perched on these 3. There's another one on the other side that are holding this thing where it's at. I mean, is that natural? I don't see how that's possible. I suppose it could be, but I just don't see how that's possible. It's amazing up there how, how these things got left this way. And then also there's I know before I get to that, I think there was another, I had a picture of looking off in the distance. Oh, maybe not. I can't, maybe I didn't put it in here, but you look back away from the ocean, back the other way, and you see what looks like a pyramid stone. There's a couple of them. They're way back off and about another mile, maybe hike in this vegetation. You would have to get through there. I wanted to go and see it, but we opted not to. Um, but it looks like it's this pyramid stone, and it's way off in the distance. But anyway, I didn't have a picture of it apparently. So, but it's off there. Anyway, there's Junior Dazzler. Bobby Dazzler didn't make it. He was involved in the fire that was at the. I will. I think I got those pictures. I'll show that. There was a Bobby got in the fire, so he got smoke damage real bad, and then no, what was the other? Oh, I forgot the name of the other Dazzler. She had another one now that's replaced Bobby Dazzler. Billy Dazzler, is it? Yes, Billy Dazzler. Okay, so this one doesn't have the feet in that, so I called him Junior Dazzler. So that's what I got, and that's what I got from Karen. So now he's with me everywhere, and he's right there. So he goes with me everywhere. He rides in the truck with me wherever I go. Another great gift. And then we had the opportunity to, while I took Christina back to the airport, to Halifax Airport, and she flew out, and then I stayed for a few more days, and I got the opportunity to interview Ian at the this was at the Oak Island Resort. They gave us a room to go and set up for me to do the interview in, and I got that all set up and did the interview. And Tony Sampson came by and he joined us. Man, it was one of the funnest podcasts ever. We had a great time sitting there. And folks, again, it's one of those things where these gentlemen are taking time out of their day. Ian didn't have to do this. Tony didn't have to come by there. They're both busy people. Yet here they are. They took time out of their day to come by and spend, and have a podcast with me. And there we are. So, and it's also on the YouTube channel. You can go check it out wherever you want. It's listed there. I wasn't even sure. I didn't even know Tony was coming. Ian told me later that he was gonna probably show up, and sure enough, he did. So we grabbed him a chair and swung it around and met with him too. We had an absolutely wonderful time. Yeah, and they did. They worked all day and then met me over here to do the podcast. Yeah, it's on the YouTube channel. You can check it out. It only has Ian's picture on it because I didn't know when I created it that Tony was coming. But it has Ian's picture on it. It's only back down about maybe 4 or 5. Well, no, I take it back. There's probably about 10 videos down when you go to the site there, but it's listed. And it was fun. We had the greatest time just chatting it up about all kinds of stuff. It was wonderful. Really, really a great time. You see how much fun we were having. Really, I got to look for that flower, Christina. Also, wanted to mention that, and Christina reminded me of this, was that when we were at Peggy's Cove Lighthouse, we were getting ready to leave, and we actually jumped in the truck, and we were coming around, and I saw the restrooms right there by the information center. I'm like, oh, let's use the restroom real quick. As we were coming around there, there's a van parked right there. And it's kind of parked right there by the bathrooms as well. And as we're coming around it, I looked over on the side and I saw it. It said Anchor Tours, Jeff Babineau, right on the side of it. So one of the people that I have had on as a co-host, Jeff Babineau from Anchor Tours, I saw the van and I saw his name on the side of it. And I went, oh my gosh, could this be real? Backed up, parked right there, got out, and I walked around the van. And sure enough, Jeff was in there talking to somebody on the phone. And I come around the door. He's sitting in there. All of his patrons are off, that he brought there are off, checking out the lighthouse and all this stuff. So he's waiting for them to come back. He's sitting in his van on the phone talking to somebody. And I come around and he's like, he's telling the guy on the phone, hey, remember that guy I was just telling you about? He's standing right here. And I come around, and so I got a chance to sit and talk with Jeff Babineau, and I got to meet him too. And Jeff wanted to meet up with me, and he wanted to take me into Halifax and show me some of the historical places of Halifax. Didn't get the chance, just couldn't work it out before I had to go. So, yeah, Kat, I know, right? So I got to meet, of all places, again, it just by chance, there is Jeff Babineau from Anchor Tours right there. And so I got the opportunity to talk with him for a little bit and meet him in person again. Just awesome. Again, one of those things, you just never know what's going to happen. And then there was the red flowers, and it's a weird red flower, and I'll have to try. I didn't put it in the lineup for tonight for the pictures, but it's there. So anyway, I wanted to show that we were over at Tom's wrapping up the whole thing. Went over to Tom Burns' house, and you guys know Tom Burns. He's in the chat here tonight. And great guy. He's my co-host for all things Oak Island, except for this, of course. But he's my co-host now for all things Oak Island. Got a chance to go to his house, meet him and his wife and his dogs. Wonderful dogs, the two well-trained dogs that do all kinds of clever stuff and pull wagons around, and now they're diving dogs. Golden retrievers, wonderful, just good dogs. Anyway, so got a chance. This picture, when I tried to make it bigger, got a little pixelated. I'll show it here real quick. They let me set up because I had to do a podcast that night. Yeah. My studio for the podcast. I was actually doing a podcast for the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. And so I needed to review it and get everything set up that night. And they Leslie let me set up on her dining room table and do my podcast right there. So I had to be very careful not to scratch anything or whatnot. But I set up and was getting everything ready for the podcast. And then that night we go back to the camp. So we went over to Tom's camp. There it is in the background. We're down there on his dock, and there's Tom Burns. Before we went down there, Tom had also got a couple of presents, and he got one of the Jack Begley's 6,000 root digging shovels, like I did, same thing, and some of the 5x7 cards that were made up for the Oak Island people, and some of our giveaways that we do. 4 days after mine, right? And look at that hat. He's got a pretty cool hat on he's wearing right there too. He's got a hat, t-shirt. He's got all kinds of stuff. And he got a map of the Oak Island map. There we are having dinner. And as I'm reviewing the podcast, getting ready for the podcast that night, another shot of it. And he's in here on the TV. He's getting ready to watch the podcast as I'm getting ready. I got my guests all lined up there. We're talking with everybody before the show starts. That's what we do in there. When I start the podcast, you see what it says, coming up or something like that. And when I tell it before I actually tell it to go live, we sit in there and have a little meeting. That's what we're doing there. And he also gave me this. This is the Fort Latour lead cross replica. This is a lead cross that was a replica of a lead cross that was found up in New Brunswick. Help me out, Tom. Where exactly was this? I've forgotten now. I know it says on here from a mold from the original by Aikens Pewter. Let's see, in a modern pewter. Let's see where it should say on here where it was found. This replica was a French cross, was found by archaeologists at Fort Latour in 2019. The cross is believed to date to 17th century. Yeah, Fort Latour. There you go. 7 day. Oh, 7 day. Tom's is 7 days, I guess, right? Okay. But yeah. So yeah, Billy Dazzler. Oh, thank you, Karen. There's Karen. Yeah, Billy Dazzler. There we are at the camp again, and I tell you what, folks, it rained and rained. This is the next morning. It rained and rained and rained so much at the camp, and I was a little afraid that the hillside, this behind Tom's camp goes up a hill, trees and everything, but I mean, it simply goes up. It's like the Pittsburgh area. If you've been to the Pittsburgh area, very hilly, very mountainous, and so that was my gift from Tom. Gave me that by the way, and that's that I had to show that too. So yeah, there he is sporting that hat, but we're at his camp, and it rained so much that the water, and I got a clip of this. The water was coming out of the mountainside, flowing like crazy. I'll show you that in a second. Somebody got me a Dr. Pepper, but anyway, yeah. Doctor, I don't like Dr. Pepper, so there you go. But I do like my bacon for breakfast the next morning. I do like it limpy bacon. I don't like it hard and crunchy. I like it limpy, and he cooked it perfectly. Perfectly. Look at that. I mean, that is perfect bacon right there, in my opinion. And Tom doesn't think so, but I'm loving it. So there you go. Look at the water. And those are, it's not running down the hill. It's coming out of the hill right there and piling up behind his house. Now his house is up on like blocks. So it's flowing under the house as it's going. I come around over here and I'm just looking at the water in another spot and it's flowing. You can see it's coming right out of the hillside. Okay. Why is this not getting out of the way? I got something up on my screen right now and it will not go away. Okay, there we go. So yeah, so the water's pouring right out of the hillside.
Well, this is how much it rained last night.
You can see it coming down his yard. It's running right through here, and all this is soaking. It's just running through.
The last few days.
Didn't get a whole lot of sleep that night because Tom and I stayed up pretty late, and then I was a little worried that the house was going to make its way down the hill. It didn't. Everything was fine, but man, it just didn't stop raining. Now he does have trail cam, and his trail cam actually captured me stealing a bag of chips. You've heard the people talking about the ketchup Lay's chips, and I thought, oh, I got to try these out. So there's, I thought I was being sneaky and running out the door with the bag, but his trail cam captured me, the thief. And there I am saying goodbye and getting ready to head out. The water literally the next day was simply running down from his property down onto where his parking area is right there, and then down onto the road. And it was a river going down the road. It was just crazy how bad it was going on right there. And that was me heading out and getting ready to leave. Now, I have a little another little video I wanted to show you folks real quick. Let's see, which one is this here? Let's see. No, not that one. Hang on one second. There's a little video I wanted to show you real quick. I'm working on a new video with some of the stuff that Jer Henderson, some of the people I wanted to thank, Colin, Kat, Linda, Karen Howard, Jer Henderson, Karen Public Cover, and of course the guys from the island, Tom, Linda, and Jan, of course, Scott, Tony, Laird, Steven, Brennan, Tim, Alessandra, Jeff Babineau, Judy, Doug Crow, Ian Spooner, Jeff Irving, everybody that was all part of this, that helped put all this together and make the trip just wonderful. Jer Henderson came out and we got permission. We got permission from Scott and Oak Island, Circuit Trova, to come out and do a little bit of filming with a drone. Now, you've heard me to say before that I don't do the drone stuff over the island anymore because we were asked not to by Circuit Trova. Some of that still goes on, but we're not going to do that. I did get permission. We did fly. He did fly around and stayed away from the island, not going over the island, but he got up high so we could see it. But I wanted to show, and I'm putting together a little bit of a video working with some of this stuff. And I was working on doing a little bit of a Maddie Blake. Now I'm not going to share all that with you guys here tonight because I'm still working on making a new intro video for the Curse of Oak Island stuff. But here's a piece of it, just a piece of it. What we were working on, and my lovely assistant Christina was helping me with this, but I wanted to show you guys this real quick, and let me bring it up, and hold on one second while there we go, and Get that back. All right, here we go. And just this is just a piece of what we were working on. And again, boy, the sun was hot right here at this particular scene. But check this out.
This is the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream.
Was Jeff on Oak Island? You see Tony's boat over there. And we're waving. Keeps cutting out. All right, that's a little taste of what it's all about. We've got some more. I'm putting together. I was doing a little bit of the Matty Blake out on the causeway. I was cutting out there a little bit. I'm not sure why I was doing that, but yeah. So more to come on that. So I'm still working on it, trying to get some. Who was flying the drone? That was Jer Henderson. And like I said, we got permission. We talked to him and got the okay to do that. And again, it's because we're not going to fly the drones over the island while the guys are working and staring down on them and all that kind of stuff, because it's an invasion of privacy and they don't like it. And it interferes with when they got their drones up. They got security drones and all that kind of stuff. So we don't do that anymore. I did it that one time and loved it. It was a great video, but again, it's not cool. And so we got permission to do this and go out and film on the causeway. And yes, Jack Bagley drove by. Jack Bagley drove by while we were out there. And so did Troutman. Paul Troutman drove by while we were out there. Paul didn't know who I was. When he went by, we were like getting off to the side. Christine and I, we were on the causeway at the moment. And I said, "Oh, car, let's get over." And so we got over as far as we could on the rocks, and you could see the look on Paul's face was like, oh, "These tourists, oh, geez, Can't blame the guy at all." But we did get permission. So yeah, they said yes, that we could go out there and do what we did and share, and put that together. So I do have some stuff coming that I want to share with you all at some point. We'll get it all out there. And like I said, I did a little bit of Matty Blake on the causeway. You know how he does when he's talking and doing all that. So we'll share that as we go along. And I'm trying to put together a new intro video. So, folks, I know 2 hours. I rambled on for 2 hours, but I tell you honestly, this was a fantastic trip. The people at the end, yeah, that's true. when Christina and I were out there, and we're filming, and she's filming me, and we did it with 3 different cameras because I didn't know which one was going to be the best one. The actually the one I ended up using, when the sun came out, it got so bright it was kind of washed out a little bit, and we're kind of trying to fix that. But so here we are, we're filming out there, and then the drone is going around, and he's doing some stuff with the drone and all of that, and these people were taking pictures of us. And so when we get done, we get done, and and Christina and I are walking off the causeway, and the 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 lady thought she thought I was Rick Lagina, and her husband was saying, I didn't, I'm telling you, I didn't think that was him, but she thought I was Rick Lagina, and so, are you Rick Lagina? I'm like, no, ma'am, I'm not Rick, So it was funny. I don't really think I look like Rick. Maybe if I had the round glasses or whatever, but anyway, so that was pretty funny because somebody thought I was Rick Lagina. But again, so it was a fantastic trip. And folks, again, I tell you, if you get a chance to get up there and go to Nova Scotia and go to Oak Island, as you heard Charles Barkhouse say, we're hoping that the island will be open at least a little bit for tourism. You know that they added on to the interpretive center. Everything in there, I'm guessing everything got pushed aside as we seen the racks when we see Laird and um, everybody in there working in when they're doing their jobs in there. You see all those racks and stuff over to the side. I think everything that was in the interpretive center got shoved over to the side, I guess, and so they could have the lab. Well, they are adding on to that building so that they can now have an interpretive center again and a lab. Based upon what we've seen, that's what's happening. And so hopefully next year, we'll be able to at least go over to the island and go to the interpretive center. Don't know about tours or any of that, but hopefully at some point that interpretive center will be open for at least for visitors to come and see that and see all the artifacts that they've got in there. I would love to personally get in there and get a look at it myself and all the stuff, Dane Blankenship stuff and the things that they found over the years. It would be just wonderful, wouldn't it? So anyway, I wanted to share this with you, Beth. Thank you so much. I was hoping it wasn't too boring for everybody, that I wanted to kind of take you through the trip that I had. And you guys, like I said, if you get an opportunity to go into Nova Scotia, to go up and check out Oak Island, do yourself the favor of going on the Salty Dog Sea Tour. See that. If you get a chance to talk to Anchor Tours and Jeff Babineau, check out his tours. I didn't get to go on that, but I would love to. And my next trip up there, I am going to do that for sure. The Gloos Capstone, get a chance to at least go out and I better not say this. Everybody has got to go get a look at the causeway, right? You got to go check out the causeway. I know that Karen public cover to do that. You're on her property because you got to park somewhere. She's got a no parking sign right there. I don't know how she deals with it all, but everybody does. While we were there, we saw so many cars pull up, get out, people get out, take pictures, and then turn around and leave. And I know it's a hassle for Karen, but she is so gracious, and she let us come over, and we went inside and got a chance to meet with her and her husband, and great people, really great. And um, Christina was down on the water, down at the water, looking for sea glass and stuff with her. So Karen, thank you so much for taking us in and letting us come over there and park and talk to you. Yeah, and buy one of her treasures. She makes some wonderful stuff. Karen Public Cover's got the Oak Island from the other side of the causeway. You can buy stuff. All that sea glass stuff. So much of it is there, and she sells these things too. So anyway, wonderful time. You got to go to the tours, take the Anchor Tours, take the Salty Dog Sea Tours, and see the Mug and Anchor and all the places that are around there. And Glooscap Stone and all that kind of stuff. You do yourself a favor and see that. The next time we go up, we're going to concentrate on more than just Oak Island. We're going to see other stuff too, because the whole area, honestly, folks, is so beautiful, and there's so much to see and do that we didn't get to see and do because we were concentrating more on Oak Island and the boats and the Colin taking us out and all that kind of stuff. Next trip is going to be about fishing and going to see all the stuff that we didn't get to see in the area, because it's just beautiful. Lunenburg and all those places. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But yeah, if you ever get a chance, got to go up there. Go to Nova Scotia, folks, and check this out for yourself. It was a fabulous trip, fabulous trip, and I can't wait to go back. I'm definitely going to be going back and seeing it all again. So, anyway, thank you, folks, for sharing this here with us tonight, or with me tonight. And I was hoping that like I said, it wasn't too boring, and you'd all get a chance to see some of the pictures that we took. And all of that, and the good time that we had. The folks are just wonderful up there. And again, I can't wait to do it again. So thank you for joining us here tonight. I'm going to wrap it up and say goodnight, and hope that you guys have the good rest of your week. We've got Skinwalker Ranch stuff coming up on Thursday and Friday. We do have Scott Clark coming up, but we're going to be interviewing Scott Clark. And we also have, am I allowed to talk about anybody else yet? Like Corian. Corian's going to be joining us. And if in the future here, we're going to have Corian Moll will be coming on and talking about some of his stuff. We're going to have Gretchen coming back and talking about some of the stuff she's been doing with the show Templars. Templars number 5 is out. So you got to go check that out. The Templar series that Lucas Antonio is doing, that we've talked about here on the show quite a bit. A lot of stuff coming up to get us primed for season 11. Going into November. So anyway, thanks, folks, for being here tonight. We really appreciate you showing up and sharing this with us. And you have a great rest of your week. Good night, everyone.